If you're a young person, this movie is for you. Gold is moving in the southwestern United States in a massive way that it hasn't in a very long time. And even if nothing else happens, you're going to have a 40-year window to work this gold. How do I know this? Well, the last hydrologic event occurred in 1964. The gold from that gold flush launched the Gold Prospectors Association of America, the Lost Dutchmen's Association, the New 49ers, any number of gold organizations and clubs, rock hounding clubs, and that gold was relentlessly worked for the past 40 years and even beyond. Of course, there were localized flooding events that simply added to, but 1964 was the biggie for us. It compares nothing, though, to the current hydrologic event setting you up for the time to come. Well, why gold? Gold sells readily no matter what its form, and what you want to pay attention to on these two screens is the number of watchers. How many people are competing to buy these nuggets? If you take a nugget and attach a bale to it, you can add an additional 300%. Try walking into the boss's office and ask for a 300% raise. Yet you can readily do this with gold. Add a chain and you have even more. Where are these nuggets found? Well, these nuggets, especially large nuggets, are typically found in the Basin and Range Desert, which is split into 4 deserts covering 7 states: Utah, Idaho, Oregon, California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Now there's other areas in western Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana where nuggets are found, but these are the principal areas. The best of the best, the deserts that produce thousands of pieces a year, are in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Utah, Idaho, and Oregon. The gold comes from different types of deposits, and the deserts have all of them. Hypothermal gold forms under high pressure very deep in the Earth's surface. The tops of the domes have very large nuggets, and these deposits can cover whole regions. Mesothermal deposits are large, localized deposits. They're generally formed less than 2 miles deep, and the mining companies really go after these. There's large nuggets in the top of the dome, and down in the bottom, since it is lowered pressure, you have granular gold, silver, copper, lead, zinc, and they really go after these deposits. Epithermal gold comes right to the surface, and this is the type of vein that individual prospectors commonly find. Bang, there's a vein of gold right there. And they can turn out to be large deposits as well. Virginia City and Goldfield, Nevada were built on top of epithermal veins. These deposits are usually where your free milling gold on the ground, placer gold, is coming from. So all of these deposits taken together, weathering away, lead to large deposits of gold in the desert. But you want to know, why are large nuggets found shallow? You thought they were heavy. Well, gold is heavy, but an 18-pound nugget was found right at the surface with a metal detector near Randsburg, California, and many smaller nuggets have been found this way because the soils in the desert are interlocked. Unlike rivers and streams where large nuggets pass right through the rounded gravels to bedrock, like on a ball-bearing transport, in the desert, they ride along the top of the interlocked soil until they find a crack. It's the small gold that passes through the cracks to bedrock. You might be wondering why you would need a metal detector to find gold nuggets at the surface. After all, they're bright. Well, gold is metal, and over the heating and cooling of the day, gold attracts moisture, and that moisture attracts dust and dirt, which is certainly copious in the desert, and over time, those nuggets become invisible, which is why you have as much chance as anyone else of finding nuggets, no matter what the cost of your detector. The real value of a metal detector is in your knowledge of the scanning coil and where to use it. And if you learn to train yourself to think in terms of what coil is on the detector and where is the soil conditions that's most effective, you're going to do very well in this field. The big coils are generally used to punch through thick sands to get to the interlocking soil below. The medium coils are for general searching in lighter sand conditions, and the sniper coils we use over bare ground, searching cracks, that sort of thing. And they can be used where there's a lot of iron trash to ferret out nuggets where the bigger coils would cover too many targets. Well, let's look at some real-world examples of where you could use your metal detector. We have a mountain with wind and water runoff down to a pediment, which the mountain may or may not have. This is a thin line of almost level ground, which can have cracks and fissures and exceptionally large nuggets. Out from that, we have an alluvial fan, and these are all the materials you want to scan with either a large or your medium coil. And then, of course, out from that, we have the sands over top of materials, and that's where you would use your large coil. The pediment. You may choose to just work these for your entire career with a sniper coil and only cover a nano section of one county, because these alone are huge areas. With just a little practice, you can learn to identify them with your satellite view of your mapping program. You're standing on the pediment looking away from the mountain, and you can see the cracks and crevices and potholes where you could use your sniper coil to investigate. You could also do this by eye, but a lot of those are going to have sediments in them, of course. Just past the pediment drop-off, you've got a vegetated area where you can use your medium coil to go around the bases of the vegetation, where nuggets a lot of times will hang up. And out even further, you've got clear areas where you could use your large or still your medium coil for general searching through the sands and down into the interlocked soils below. Now we'll take a look at an area I went to as a young man. Got out and started walking to a quartz outcrop only to find I was in spongy ground. I looked down to find my shoes were melting and barely made it back out of there before my tires popped. This area is better known as Death Valley. I'm not sending anyone there, but let's look at what's just over the ridge to the west. This is just over the mountain range on the California side, and I picked this area because it'll give you a view of what you can find with your satellite view, whether you use topo on top of that or not. But you can readily find the pediment areas where you can use your sniper coils or eyesight, and you can also identify the alluvial fan areas that are bringing down gold ores of all kinds, and they look like fans. As we're running pictures of metal detectors that have successfully been used in the West, you should know that any of these will also work atop the old gold dredge tailings piles where gold nuggets are frequently found, especially in Alaska. If you see a metal detector that interests you, make sure you read up everything that you can about it on the internet, pro and con, before you buy anything. Good luck to you. Good luck out in the gold fields, whether you choose this as a recreation or an occupation.